Hell y'all, this is Brazil, a house divided, a mod for Hearthstone 4 that takes place in a world where Brazil essentially fell apart in the 19th century. As a result of this, the lands of the former Portuguese colony are split between 8 countries. We're going to play as Sao Paulo, which has a huge population and in our timeline was a very big player in the 1932 Constitutionalist Revolt, also referred to as the Brazilian Civil War. We begin with one national spirit and it is called Coffee Crisis. Looking at our military, we have 6 divisions in the Army, 3 fleets in the Navy, and a Pride of the Fleet, which I think is a battleship. And last but not least, we have an Air Force that consists of 24 fighters and a single air wing. As for Army commanders, we have 2 generals and 1 field marshal. Now for military technology, we got basic weapons, basic tanks, level 1 artillery and anti-air. And in the airplane department, we have 1936 era fighters, and that's about it. Let's start the focus tree by completing bailout coffee plantations, and then after that we will go over to the left and do anarcho-syndicalism, mass movement, and popular councils. That last one will cause the ruling party of our country to change. We're going to expand our army some by training a Força Pública division. They aren't that big, but on the plus side, that small size will mean they will need less equipment. Our new unit is almost ready to be deployed, and also the popularity of communism is growing, thanks to a national spirit we got from the mass movement focus. The communists have come to power, and because of that, our country name has become Piratininga, and besides that, our flag has changed, and we got a new leader in the form of Edgarche Lourenhochi. Edgarche Lourenhochi, or Edgard Lourenroth, historically was born to German immigrants in Brazil, and became later known in life as a journalist, writer, and publisher. Politically, he was interested in socialism, and when introduced to the anarchist movement, he would be affiliated with it until his death. Since our country has become communist, we can now justify war goals without worrying about world tension. With that said, our first target will be our neighbor, Minas Gerais. In our focus tree, we're going to do revolutionary battalions, education reform, and form of Sao Paulo as soon as possible. Across the Atlantic in Europe, the black shirts are organizing in the UK. Meanwhile, Spain is in a civil war because of course they are. This is Hoi 4. We picked a public force guy to be the chief of our army. Why do we do that, you may ask? Well, he gives defense buffs to our infantry and our cavalry. We're getting ready to attack Minas Gerais. We have 20 divisions with a total of 74,000 men in the field, and that number is only going to go up as we deploy more soldiers. We can't really start to form focus for the time being, so instead we are going to complete a rearmament program, update officers' curriculums, Paraíba Valley, and subsidize industrial expansion. News from up north. The USA has passed the Neutrality Act. Over in Spain, the anarchists have risen up to take part in the Civil War. Our army now consists of 24 divisions. For comparison, our soon-to-be enemy has at most 12. The invasion has started. Our forces have already quickly isolated a couple enemy units. However, that's just a side mission. Our actual objective is to take the enemy capital. That wasn't so bad, but now we must move on to our next task, which boils down to going around the country and capturing as many victory points as we are able. We're having a little bit of trouble leaving the place we just took over, but elsewhere on other parts of the front, the situation seems to overall be in our favor. We were pushed out of the enemy capital, but that's fine. Palestino troops will just go somewhere else. We have chosen a military high command in the form of the infantry expert man, mainly because he gives attack and defense buffs to our infantry divisions, so he seems the most useful at the moment given the circumstances. Minas Gerais has been defeated and annexed. The next country we shall set our eyes on is the nation we surround on nearly all sides, Guanabara. More focuses thanks to our recent victory. We can now do Forma Sao Paulo, and after that we will complete Scarlet Bandeira, and once we are able, we will unite all Brazil with the focus named United States of Brazil. Above us in North America, Mexico finds itself in a civil war between the non-aligned Mexican government and the fascist Mexican junta. The nearby country of the Equatorian Confederation has started fighting itself, and also we now have our own faction. which is neat. The aforementioned confederation has decided to challenge the Duke of Guanabara, though I'm unsure if anything will come of this, as these two entities do not share a border with one another. Scarlet Bandera is done, and as a result of that, we now have war goals for a lot of nearby countries that could be considered part of Brazil. Preparations are being made to attack Guanabara. This includes the creation of a fallback line. Scarlet Flag, the quote radical Paulista regime, that's who we are playing as, has announced that it intends to liberate its brethren people from the former Brazilian Empire from the shackles of capitalism. Guanabara doesn't have many divisions, and we are going to exploit that by moving through any gaps they have in their defensive line. One mostly one-sided war later, and here we are in a peace conference. While we could get a new puppet out of this, it might be better if we integrate all the land into our country proper. Since we now control 2 Brazilian capitals other than our own, we can finally start and complete United States of Brazil. The next place we will invade is the Rio Grandense Republic, or the Rio Grandense Republic, or however you say it, as the Equatorian Confederation is still currently in a civil war. The Republic has only 12 divisions at most, if the intel is correct, which is good news for us, although that said, there is a slight chance they may be of better quality when compared to the standard unit of our own military. Austria got Anschlussed, and besides that, we have transformed into Brazil, and in the process, got a new flag. My concerns about the Rio Grandense Republic have proven to be somewhat true, as we are starting to have problems with advancing forward. The Equatorian Civil War is over, and it seems that the Democratic faction has come out on top in the conflict. A miracle has occurred. We have made a breakthrough in the enemy's defenses. Let's make sure to use this to our benefit by sending in as many troops as possible into the vulnerable area. Focus tree time. Let's do ABC Industrial Park, Cubatão Complex, Ingesa, FAP, ESP, and after that, we're going to do Sao Paulo University, which will give us another research slot. Over in Europe, World War II has started a little bit earlier than expected, possibly because Germany attacked Czechoslovakia, who is guaranteed by France. We have beaten the Rio Grande state, so it's only right that we justify a war goal in the Equatorian Confederation, who is most likely still recovering from the Civil War they had earlier. As of now, the date in game is July 15, 1938, and our war goal will be ready on September 29th of the same year, so we just gotta wait less than 80 days before we can start our next invasion. Using a great deal of captured equipment, we have started training a whole bunch of infantry divisions that pack a lot more punch on an individual level when balanced against the Força Pública units that are in our army. Speaking of the Força Pública, they are gradually going to be upgraded over time to a different template that is far more suitable for reuniting all of Brazil. Checking on Europe, we can see that after much time of organizing and whatnot, the black shirts did at some point take over the UK. More news, the German Reich declares war on Luxembourg, Italy joins the Axis, and South Africa has declared independence. The Equatorians shouldn't put up that much of a fight considering the amount of soldiers they have, so we are going to go ahead and start justifying a war goal on Mato Grosso. Less than a month into the offensive and we've already reached the enemy capital, which is just great news for us. An Anglo-Italian alliance has been made, and that means Italy has joined the Allies, but they are still going to be fighting France, since I guess the German Reich called them into that war earlier. The justification on Mato Grosso is finished and right on time too, because we're just about to defeat the Equatorian Confederation. We're not really there yet, but we will be eventually, so let's start making preparations to retake a core state from the small country of Acre. Mato Grosso has quite the military, I will say that. However, with time, we should be able to push them back and gain some ground. Italy has declared war on Yugoslavia, and that means the maybe soon-to-be-dead European Federation faction led by France gets a new member. That's big. The nearby United Provinces of Graupará have decided to attack the independent Republic of Acre. One of the biggest conflicts in Europe have come to an end, and somehow Italy got all of France, I think. Other than that, the British Empire is fighting the Irish. One more time in the focus tree, let's complete Energy and Nuclear Research Institute, Technology Sharing, Campinas University, and last but not least, invest in industrial technology. The last big obstacle standing in the way of a unified Brazil is Greater Pará, who I will say has a large army, so battling them will be somewhat of a challenge. Acre and Pará have made peace. Somehow. We have started a wide-scale offensive until you can guess where. Man, this is going to be rough. A weak point has been located at São Luís. Our forces may be able to use that to get into the heart of the enemy at Belém. On the western part of the front, it appears we are going to be able to pierce into the Amazonas region. We're so close to the enemy's capital. They are trying to send some soldiers over to defend it, but we are preventing that by having our own soldiers attack the possible relief force. Greater Para has been successfully absorbed into Brazil. Now the only nation left that we need to take out is Acre. Not really relevant to us, but Hungary has joined Axis. Also, rest in peace, Ireland. Acre has no manpower, but they do at minimum have 2 divisions. I am sure they would put up a good fight against our 37 divisions. Well, we're totally not going to win this in a few days, am I right? One annexation later, we can officially say that the Brazilian state is reborn in the form of the autonomous communes of Brazil. That was definitely an experience. We played as Sao Paulo, went communist, and then we slowly remade a nation. One could say we went to Brazil. Is that in fashion still? Oh, whatever. If not, Algium BR. The video is going to come to an end here. If you enjoyed the mod, check it out in the description below. If you enjoyed the video, make sure to like and subscribe, leave a comment, have an awesome day. I'll see you later. Bye.